Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your long-lost host, Alex Wilson. Today we're going to be talking about a three-headed monster in the bullpen, starting with one of the guys who just turned up after, I guess, really feels like years on the injured list, Jonathan Loaisiga. And I'm pretty excited to talk about Jonathan, talk about Devin Williams, his resurgence, and of course, the beast, the myth, the legend, the weave dog, Luke Weaver. So before we get into it, just want to say thank you guys for tuning in to Fireside Yankees. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe below, and let's dive into it. So let's start out with Jonathan Loaisiga, who has been excellent since his return. I know the sample is rather small, but if you guys remember 2023, or rather 2021, way back when Loaisiga really made his name, really carved out a role in this Yankee bullpen that showed he could be elite, not just elite, but a high-end closer. The Yankees now theoretically, on paper, in reality, have three high-end closers. Now, Jonathan's 30 years old, so he's getting a little bit older. He signed a one-year deal with an option, a club option in 2026, and he basically said, I need to earn my role. I need to show the Yankee fans why I am here. He kind of wanted to return because he has unfinished business. And so far, so good. We're seeing some really good results from him. He's only pitched in 2 games this season, but obviously 2 scoreless frames, has a pair of strikeouts. The chase rate, 66.7% chase rate. And, if you talk to Ryan, one of the biggest indications of success for bullpen arms is their whiff percentage and their chase rate and not giving up damage contact, right? Like that's kind of what you want to see. He's making batters miss. That sinker moves like crazy. He has such a nice array of pitches, the changeup, the sinker, the curveball. He's got some really, really good stuff. And the changeup and sinker, the deviation, they look like they're coming at you at the same velocity. And then one dips out of the zone. Another one just takes a left turn. Or a right turn, rather. There's a lot of movement on his pitches that's made him so dangerous for so long. And he's looking like that vintage Johnny. I think that's kind of what we've been wanting to see for years now. And like I said, that chase rate looks tremendous. The whiff rate's above average. He hasn't given up a barrel yet this year. He ranks in the 100th percentile in hard hit rate, 66.7% ground ball rate. Now, yes, and I want to make that very apparent, the sample size is super, super, super small. He only has 2 innings under his belt. So yeah, those numbers will probably change. Hopefully they will stay well above average, but his stuff is there. You can see it. The sinker looks really, really good. The velocity at 97.1 miles an hour on average is excellent. He's a little bit down from last year, but again, he's still ramping up and building up. 2 appearances. Give him a couple months, and I bet you that velocity is averaging more like 98. So that's where the Yankees want him to be. He's obviously been really, really good in a small sample, but I think that this is going to be another high leverage piece the Yankees can deploy on any given day, and that's kind of what we wanted from him. You lose Tyler Matzik, you have some middling guys, like Ian Hamilton's been struggling, who, by the way, if you're kind of worried about Ian Hamilton, the underlying metrics are really, really good for him. Really high chase rates, really high whiff rates, really good strikeout number. Like, he's doing well under the surface. His biggest problem, he's just walking a ton of batters. So if he can limit the walks, he's going to be a much better pitcher as he gets a little bit more innings under his belt here. He's definitely having a rough go of it right now. Every time he walks batters, he gives up runs. Every time he doesn't walk batters, he doesn't give up runs. So that's kind of where he's running into some problems. So if the walk rate comes down, he will turn into one of those high leverage pieces again. Using his sinker a lot more this year. I thought they would use that like Slambio, that changeup slider combination a bit more, but maybe they're just tweaking his stuff. But let's talk about the next head of the 3-headed monster, Luke Weaver, 31 years old, weave dog. 86 percentile chase rate, 86 percentile whiff rate, 89th percentile strikeout rate. This dude is the guy you want in a high leverage situation. Formerly a journeyman, spent time all across the league, lands with the Yankees on a 2-year deal with a club option. And what a great club option. The Yankees have found a really good recipe of 1-year deals, club options for the next season at a nominal cost. And that is working well for Jonathan Loaisiga. It's working well for Luke Weaver. And they're going to start utilizing that to give them a little bit of control. That way they find guys they feel like they can turn into gems, and they protect themselves with 2 years of security at really cost-efficient prices. And Weaver, 20.2 innings, 0.44 ERA. The guy has been elite. 22 strikeouts. He's just amazing. The expected batting average, 159, expected ERA, 199. So 98th percentile in expected ERA and the 99th percentile in expected batting average. His real ERA being 0.44 is just mind-boggling. He's one of the best bullpen arms in baseball. This is the type of guy I'd say, like, look, you have Devin Williams. We'll talk about him in a second. Luke Weaver's the one I would extend. Weaver is just taking advantage of an opportunity with the Yankees that, nobody really saw coming his way, and suddenly he becomes the World Series hero. Obviously, you lose the World Series, but he was unbelievable throughout the postseason. He was unbelievable throughout the regular season. He unseated Clay Holmes to a level that they let him walk in free agency. So really impressive stuff by Weaver. He has been just such a fun player and a great piece to this bullpen for now 2 years. So, looking at Devin Williams, the numbers are starting to peak, guys. Like, this is the Devin Williams we're used to seeing. He's gone 6 straight appearances without giving up a run now. His ERA is now at 6.88, which is very, very solid compared to what it was around, 12? So that number is coming down fast. And that's where the Yankees want to see him. Again, 85th percentile in whiff rate, 77th in strikeout rate, average exit velocity is 88th percentile. He's not giving up that much damage contact right now. He is 89th percentile in hard hit rate, and maybe a couple more ground balls he'd like to get. I bet you that number starts to increase, and the extension at 99th percentile makes his fastball look like it's coming out a little bit more velocity. So, this is a guy that really is starting to turn the corner. I bet you that ERA ends up below 3 at some point within the next couple months. Get back to where he usually is. And the big one that's hurting him is the walks, right? He's walking 14.9% of batters, which is really bad, 3rd percentile. If he can turn things around in the walk department, he's going to be untouchable again. That airbender, that changeup is absolutely phenomenal. It's lethal. You're starting to see that now. The changeup's starting to spike up in usage. Batters are only hitting 189 against it with a 243 slugging rate. It's an elite pitch. It's one of the best changeups in baseball. The 4-seam fastballs where he's been getting kind of mashed with a 318 batting average and a 409 slugging. So, those numbers are still both coming down on both sides of it. You get Johnny Lowe and Luke Weaver and Devin Williams pitching at a really high level, this bullpen's going to be untouchable, right? Clay Holmes was so volatile and had such an erratic strategy and style to him. You're seeing it with the Mets right now. I mean, he's come off back-to-back appearances where he's just getting absolutely crushed. So I think when you're looking at this bullpen and at how many good arms they have, and guys that are if Clayton Beater in AAA, they could always use Carrasco if they wanted to pull him in a bullpen or a long inning relief kind of role. They have just so many mouths and so many mouths to feed, and they're all eating, man. They're all dogs, and that's kind of what you want to see. I think they do kind of miss a lefty a little bit. Ian Hamilton's been, he's been on edge Tim Hill has been on edge a little bit at times, but you can live with that. Tim Hill has experience in high leverage situations. He's a weak contact guy. He's not going to strike out a lot of batters. He's going to put the ball on the ground, weak contact. So I think that right now the Yankees have found a pretty good equation. And at the moment, they have a top 10 bullpen in baseball. They have a 3.41 ERA. Ian Hamilton hurt that a little bit yesterday, but coming off that Will Bourne, that's a whole other episode, man. Will Bourne, wow. I'm sure Ryan's going to do a whole lengthy breakdown of Will Bourne and just how good he's been the last 3 starts. I think he's pitched 18 innings or something like that, and he's given up 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Yesterday was just an excellent performance. I mean, 10 Ks in 5.2 innings with 5 hits. He was just, I guess, a really good Texas Rangers offense. He was lights out. So, this pitching is coming around nicely. Sometimes I'm just I wish we had Garrett Cole. Imagine if we had Garrett Cole right now with Max Fried and what he's doing. This team would be untouchable. And the offense ranks first in slugging and home runs and WRC plus and WAR. This team is on fire. They're firing on all cylinders, and we barely have a third baseman right now. So that's kind of crazy. And if Cashman goes out and he gets us a big starting pitcher and gets us a third baseman, this team has enough firepower to win the World Series. This is one of the most brilliant pivots I've seen. And look, it's a long season, a lot can happen. But Cashman knocked that pivot out of the park. I mean, with what's going on with Juan Soto right now over in Queens and all the negative media attention. And that's kind of why you have to appreciate Aaron Judge a bit, because you look at the face of franchises, right? Soto's the face of the Mets franchise, and he's not necessarily reacting to the media at a I'd say an efficient level right now. He's kind of pushing off questions. He's avoiding questions. He's not being in the face. He's not taking on the responsibility. That's why you got to appreciate Judge so much sometimes. And Soto's going to be fine. He's still a very, very just tremendous generational talent. And I think, he's going to turn it around. One hot streak, this guy's a 160, 170 WRC plus. And it's okay, we forget what happened last week. That's how good this player is. But I think from like a media perspective, Aaron Judge is one of the best, if not the best, at handling the media in baseball. Like he takes those problems, those issues in stride. He turns bad things into strengths. I mean, he drops that ball in the World Series last year and he comes out and now he's having one of the best seasons in history. Like he took it personally. And I think that when it comes to answering questions, not avoiding the media, doing what's right for the face of the franchise, this guy is the example you want to follow. So, nice to have him, at times and kind of reflect on that. But this team is firing on all cylinders right now. They're winning games. They have a nice cushion in the American League East. They have resources at their disposal if they want to upgrade certain spots. They could trade pieces. They have some really exciting young prospects coming up the farm system. George Lombard, Orion's really high on Lombard. So, they got pieces here. Lombard could be, and that's kind of why I think the Yankees will probably go out and get like a platoon third baseman that can hit right-handed pitching, maybe a lefty. So like, we'll see what kind of comes of that. But I think they believe Lombard could be a piece in the mix here in 2026. He's in Double-A now, and Lombard he's performing pretty well. So I'm excited to see him. Pull up his numbers right now and just kind of give you an idea of what he's doing in Double-A. So I haven't checked his numbers recently. So he's a 92 WRC plus in 11 games. He's adjusting, has a higher walk rate than he does strikeout rate, which is pretty solid. He's hitting only 182 with a 378 OBP, which is good. So he's walking a lot, but he's adjusting. He's getting used to things, and if he picks up the pace there. He's going to be in the mix for a starting position in 2026, but I don't think the Yankees are trying to rush him by any means. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent right now on a different kind of segment entirely, but I know I haven't been on the podcast that often in recent weeks. Had a lot going on with the business and whatnot, so just have a lot on my mind and definitely thinking a lot about this team, but writing a lot about them every day. It's a really good feeling to know that the Yankees didn't just take a year off. This was a really great pivot. It was supposed to be a reboot year. It turned into just a successful strategy that is now panning out across the board. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt's been awesome. Fried's been tremendous. Williams is turning it around. Bellinger's looks phenomenal right now, 122 WRC plus. He's been red hot. This is a team that's just firing. Trent Grisham, I mean, it's a Trent Grisham trade, not even the Juan Soto trade anymore. So, lots to be excited about, but always happy to hear your thoughts down below about the bullpen pieces. We'll do more segments, obviously, on other topics in the near future, my friends, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode. A little pop in from me, give you guys a breakdown on, how I'm thinking this bullpen is shaking out. And man, Loaisiga, the stuff looks elite. It really does. He just has to stay healthy, stay consistent, and maintain that confidence. This bullpen could be absolutely out of this world. So really excited to see how they continue to progress and build. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below. Make sure to drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.